Hi, I'm Ida Advani, Director of Analytics here at Coastal and Product Owner for CRM Analytics, Tableau, and Tableau Next. Today, I'm taking the persona of a Program Director within the nonprofit and education space, focused on workforce development and job placement. So looking at the overall metrics for those types of industries and how Tableau Next might be impactful there. So as you see, we're landed in a Tableau Next dashboard. We have our filters across the top of the page and our Tableau Next metrics across as well. So these go beyond what a traditional dashboard would potentially have with KPIs. So we have the top level number, but beyond that, we also have an expected range of data and whether or not our data falls into that. You can see that outliers are very obvious because we have this blue shaded area. We can see period over period comparison where that historical data exists. And we have AI insights that actually help us dive into those KPIs as well. So we scroll through the dashboard, we're able to see completion metrics for the applicants. We're able to see a demographic breakdown, placement rates, and the average graduate market value from these programs. And ultimately, we have row-level data should we decide to go to that level of granularity. But this dashboard will only take us so far. And the power of Tableau Next and Agentforce is that we can layer on agentic analytics on top of that. So by opening up Agentforce, we can start a line of questioning to really better understand the data. And that might start from a question like, how are the placements trending over the last 12 months? So we can see immediately from the visual that there's a negative overall trend. We have a slight spike initially, but the overall trend is negative. And that's confirmed by the text data here. But let's go beyond that, right? So what's the next question that we can ask to better understand the data? And that might be a question around the demographics. So we talked about when we were going through the dashboard, that demographic breakdown. In the chart here, we have gender, age, high school type, and even a breakdown by race and ethnicity. We have multiple fields that we're pulling through. But with semantics, we're able to use terms like demographics or applicant profile to pull through the different fields that relate to that term, but using the language that makes sense for our industry and the work that we're doing. And we can see here that among those placements, we have diversity in gender, race, region, and even high school type. So we're seeing a good mix of applicants come through the program. On the flip side, we might want to see kind of how successful has we been overall with that. So to contextualize that placement rate, we'd potentially ask what percentage of participants were placed during this period. We know that it's been trending downwards. We can actually see the overall percentage here is about 45% of participants placed during this period, which potentially seems low. Again, like that's something we could build a KPI around, but we have some of that knowledge. So if we're looking initially at the placements, now let's look at the ones that did not place. So we can ask a question like common exit reasons that we were seeing across the participants that did not place in this time period. We've seen a negative trend. We've seen that we're about 44%. And you can see here that there's a good mix of different reasons. The top one appears to be family and personal issues, but we also see motivation and interest, health reasons, some found employment, which isn't necessarily a negative thing, but we're getting that breakdown that's contextualized within our overall line of questioning. So the top one being family and personal issues. Again, how can we action on this data and use Tableau Next to drive us forward? And within this agent, we're actually able to do things like draft an email to the program managers about how we can better support participants dealing with family or personal issues. I'm highlighting and focusing on that top insight that we've seen, but this could be adjusted for others. And you can see here that we're getting well-structured data again, different options that we could potentially follow, and exactly what we would need to fill in order to send this out. And we can, of course, make tweaks to this, but you can see in a line of 4 or 5 questionings, we've uncovered an insight and we have an action that we can drive here. And that's the real value of Tableau Next. So we think it will certainly be impactful in this space, and happy to answer questions about that as well.